Welcome to the Prime Real Estate Network channel on YouTube. I'm your host, Mr. Prime Real Estate, Ric Davis.
And I'm your host, the Texas Real Estate King, LarryWBrooks.
Every week, the King and I will provide you exclusive access to our network of lenders, investors, and real estate professionals from both the commercial and residential real estate sectors.
Now, are you millionaire minded? Or maybe you're a millionaire in the making? Make sure that you subscribe so you can get connected to the network. And always remember, the Prime Real Estate Network, where millionaires are in the making.
Create wealth for generations.
What's up, Prime Real Estate Network listeners? It's your man, LarryWBrooks, a.k.a. the Texas Real Estate King. Hey, when you get a moment, go ahead and go over to shoplwb.com. You can see the Pure Hustle merchandise that we had over there, some of our newer items that we have in stock, and of course, I got all the books that I've authored. I'd love for your support. You have a great day.
Good day. Welcome to the Prime Real Estate Network podcast. I'm your host, Ric Davis. If you don't follow me on social media, I invite you to do so at Prime Real Estate Ric. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in residential or commercial real estate anywhere in the great state of Texas, but especially here in our lovely city of Houston, you can reach me directly on Instagram at Prime Real Estate Ric. As always, it's an honor and a pleasure to be here with you this Thursday, just like it is every Thursday here on the Prime Real Estate Network podcast. And we have a really exciting show planned for you all this week. First thing, I want to invite everyone, if you're checking us out live on YouTube, get involved in today's show. You can leave myself and the Texas Real Estate King a relevant real estate question, place it in the comment section, and you never know, we may very well have an opportunity to answer your question this week on the show. I want to take some time now to introduce my co-host. He is not only a highly successful real estate broker, a multi-time author, serial entrepreneur, the proud proprietor of the Pure Hustle clothing brand, and he is also taking the commercial real estate market by storm. I'd like to introduce my co-host, the Texas Real Estate King, Mr. LarryWBrooks. How you doing?
Hey, I love it, Rick. Taking the commercial real estate market by storm, man. Hey, that's me all the way, no doubt about it.
Hey, look, I feel as if I gotta talk about it, man. Whenever your Instagram bio and handle changes, I feel like I gotta talk about it on the podcast, man. So what's going on with you, Mr. Brooks?
I'm flexing, man. I'm using my genius, man. You know what I'm saying? And you know what they say? They say if you can build it once, you can build it twice, and you can, you know what I mean? So I'm back rebranding, rebuilding, man. Speaking of that, earlier this week I went to they had a small business expo that took place, so I was in that thing, working the room. Yesterday HAR hosted its buyer symposium, but it was really for realtors to understand the knowledge that's around affordability in Houston. Home programs for buyers, monies that buyers could get. Man, there was so many programs. There's programs that was giving away almost $100,000 towards someone purchasing home. So it was definitely a value add, man. So it was myself and probably about 300 other realtors in the local market, just getting knowledge and just fellowshipping and networking. It was just like a whole nother course of understanding what the city is giving out now, the county is giving out now. So it was good.
Oh, no. And, you know, it's something that's really important that we as real estate professionals make sure we highlight and spotlight are all of those grants, all of those monies that are out there to help not only first-time buyers, but those people who may be relocating from out of state. If you want to invest in the state of Texas, and especially here in this area of Houston, there are upwards of $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 that are available to assist you into not only offsetting any interest rate issues you may have, but also be able to put you in a strong ownership stake in the property and not have mortgage insurance. So I want to appreciate you so much, Mr. Brooks, for bringing that up, because it's important that we talk about that publicly.
Definitely. And so for those of you that are out there that always want this insight beforehand, if you follow me on Instagram, my handle is right here, Texas Real Estate King. I always post these events before I even go to them. So you have an idea of where you can step in at or be a part of them. So, yeah.
Hey, man, you had a very busy weekend this past weekend, man. You know, it was the annual celebration in Nacogdoches, Texas, the Stephen F. Austin State University homecoming, man. Is there a little bit about this past weekend's activities that you could share with our audience?
Man, it was fun, man. You know, we just got a huge new ring placed in the center of the campus or near the Alumni Association building, man. So just homecoming is always an exciting adventure, man. So it was one of our best homecomings yet. A lot of people came back. Now I don't know if that's because we no longer have the rivalry here in Houston against that other school up 45, but for the most part, there were a lot of people that came back, a lot of energy, a lot of synergy. So just excited to be a member of the Lumberjacks, man, and growing.
Hey, big huge
Yeah,
shout out to all of SFA Lumberjacks, man. SFA all day, man.
yes,
Big huge
sir.
shout out to everybody who came back to Nacogdoches because it always allows us to have that feeling of family when everybody comes back to the
Mm-hmm.
oldest town in Texas. So big huge shout
Mm-hmm.
out to everybody in Nacogdoches that made that happen.
That's
You
right.
know, I'm really excited, Larry, about today's episode of the show because there are so many entrepreneurs that we've had the pleasure of interviewing that also check us out on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that they'll be able to gain some great insight from today's guest on how to right size and organize their businesses to
Yeah.
make them not only recession proof, but something that they can build on for generations to come. So, could you share a little bit about not only your relationship with this week's guest, but how you
Yeah.
were able to get them to commit to sitting in with us, sir?
Yeah, man. Here's the thing, man. They always say hindsight is 2020, and one of the things that I can also say alongside of that is watching friends grow, watching organizations, watching people become amazing over a time period is also 2020. That's what you see. You see that later. But the thing about it, man, the brother that we have coming on today, a friend of mine, I've known, man. I was trying to come up with it, but at least since 2008, man, many years. I've watched him grow one business after another business until he's in a realm of all on his own, man. I have an opportunity of sharing a clubhouse room with him in the morning. I'll listen to those gentlemen talk, and he'll be up there giving advice and telling people how it is that they could build out a business that they can be a part of if they want to. If not, they got the time freedom that they desire, man. So having this brother on the show, not only that, he's a frat brother, man. So it's a red light special that's taking place
Hey
today,
man, the
man.
red
So
light special as always.
red
Give a
light
huge
special,
shout
man.
out, man,
Yeah.
to all the brothers of Cap Alpha Psi, bro. You know what it
No,
is.
no doubt, man. And having him on the show today, man, it was not difficult at all, man. You reach out with a quick message, and it's a yes that comes along with it because of that relationship, man. So he's friends with many of our past alumni of the Prime Real Estate Network, and I'm just excited to have him on here today, man. A book of wisdom, man. It's always been love. Whenever we've seen each other, we found a way to share small gems with each other about our successes, man. So I'm just happy to see my brother on here, see him continue to kill it and be amazing, man. So just happy to have him here today.
Hey, look, without any further ado, I'd like to introduce this week's guest. Like Mr. Brooks mentioned, he is not only just a fine and esteemed member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, he is also a serial entrepreneur, and he is
Yeah,
also an integrated real estate investment expert and
yeah.
entrepreneur. I want to thank him for sitting in with us this week, and I'd like to introduce to the Prime Real Estate Network audience, Mr. Al Johnson. How you doing, sir?
Man, I would say I'm excited to be here, blessed, humbled. I've been knowing LB for a long time. Obviously,
Yeah,
we go way back, frat, looping it up. Man, it's a blessing to be here, a blessing to help others, and it's great to spend some time with both of you gentlemen today.
no
You
doubt
know, the
about it.
great thing, Al, I want to thank you for sitting in. But the cool thing about when Larry and I have the pleasure of hosting a red light special episode of the Prime Real Estate Network is that I know for a fact there's going to be some members of our audience that are going to learn some things about you today, Al, that they didn't know previously.
Yeah.
So, one of the cool things is that I'm hoping that not only can you introduce your brand and your businesses, but also talk about how you vertically integrated your real estate investment brand and how all of your businesses work hand in hand with each other. So please, Al, just introduce a little bit about your business to our audience.
Yeah. So, again, for those who don't know me or don't know who I am, my name is Al Johnson. I've been in the real estate space since 2005. Took a hiatus after I would say 2008, 2009. And it was crazy because at the time I had my real estate license and it was hung at Treadstone Realty. And we were an REO firm. And we know what happened in 08, 09, tons of foreclosures. And so at that time, my mindset was different. I was focusing more so on selling those foreclosures for the bank instead of buying them as an investor. Okay. If I can take that back, that is one thing that would have definitely changed. I wish I'd have brought more real estate when it bottomed out in 08 and 09. Fast forward, to I'll say 2013. We'll probably get to in between that, but fast forward to 2013. I got into insurance and I made a career change. I've always had a passion for real estate. But at the time when I was selling real estate as a realtor, I also had a full-time job as a pharmaceutical sales rep, and I did that for 5 years. And I would sell real estate on the side, right? Well, fast forward, I made a career change in 2013, and I opened up a State Farm franchise. I put all that to the side to solely focus on building that business, understanding that business, and putting myself and my family in a position to where we can be successful in that business. I would probably say around 3 years into the business, we were doing a really, really good job. But I always coach my team and remind myself that to be a master in anything, you need to put in 10,000 hours. Yeah. And depending on how many hours a week that you're working, that's going to dictate how long it takes for you to be able to master something. So if you have a college student going to college for 12 hours a semester and someone taking 18 hours, they're going to get that college degree faster than the person that's taking 12 hours a semester, let alone going to summer school. Well, it's the same thing in business. If you're willing to burn the midnight candle and put the work in, you're going to accelerate your ability to learn. You're going to take those experiences, learn from them, and grow. So we were able to do that. And once we mastered insurance, was able to scale it out, build the team that we wanted, that gave us a position to now regain and focus on acquiring real estate doors. And obviously now I can insure the investments that I buy. I understand that piece. And then I know how to analyze and underwrite transactions to where they cash flow, they make sense. And we have the properly structured financing instrument to help to help enhance whatever the rate of return is going to be, or the cash on cash return is going to be. So now we're in a position where we can buy real estate, evaluate it, we can insure the real estate, and then obviously as an investor, you want the passive income that an asset is going to yield once it's performing optimally. So doing that and doing that over has really allowed us to maximize being vertically integrated, meaning there's synergy between insurance and there's synergy between real estate. You can't buy it without insurance unless you're paying cash for it.
Now, I thank you so much for illustrating how you set up and what you define as vertically integrating your businesses. And I'm sure you have people to ask you this question, especially considering that they see you transitioning and working and meshing your real estate and your insurance companies together. How many insurance professionals and entrepreneurs have you met that also have a real estate background? And how many of those come to you for consultation on not only what motivated you to put those two things together, or how are you able to manage your time to make that possible?
So that's a great question. I think there's a difference between buying real estate as an investor and actually being an expert. Right. Sometimes as investors, when money is cheap and you can get debt at 4.25%, 3.5%, 4.5%. You can pay retail for some real estate and it's going to cash flow. That makes you a real estate investor, but that doesn't make you a sophisticated or an expert. You're just buying real estate when money's cheap and you're able to lease out that particular asset and it cash flow because, again, money was cheap. You got a 3.5%, 4% interest rate. And so you're going to see a lot of opportunities in the market where people brought assets and paid retail. Sometimes they even paid more than retail just because money was so cheap. And when money is cheap, people spend, people buy, right? Well, you're going to see opportunities because a lot of those rates are going to reset. And now someone that, brought a small multifamily or brought something that wasn't fixed at 4.5%, 4.25%, even less than, sub 4, 3.75 or something like that. What are you going to do now when the rates are 8.5%, 9%? Does that asset still cash flow? And if it doesn't, are you in a position to hold on until you can get more favorable debt? So to go back to your question, Rick, yes, I've met a lot of insurance professionals that take money out of their income producing business and they go out and buy real estate as an investor, but that doesn't make them a real estate expert.
Right.
Okay? So that's the first thing. And the reason they want to do it is ultimately the passive income, right? And so I would encourage anyone, whether you're an insurance practitioner and you own insurance agencies, you're a real estate broker and you own a firm, or you just work a 9 to 5, you have to put yourself in a position where your money's making you money. And to do that, you want to acquire some income producing assets. And I think real estate, with all of the tax benefits, appreciation, because when the dollar goes down, real estate tends to go up. Great hedge against inflation, along with the cash flow, which is actually taxed more efficiently than active income for people that have 9 to 5 jobs. There's just a lot of benefits why people would want to buy real estate, and to have that real estate generate you income while you are doing your main thing. And so, oh, go ahead. Yes, sir.
No, because I didn't want to interrupt. It's just that this information you give is really reflective of the type of things that you discuss on Instagram during your speaking engagements. As people can see online, your handle is Ask Al Johnson on IG. So, from as far as your following on Instagram, what type of questions do you find people are sending you? Are they more preliminary, Al, should I get involved? Or have you seen that people understand that investing in insurance and real estate is the way to build that generational wealth? And they're coming for you to you, not for necessarily inspiration, but for direction.
Got it. Well, Rick, I'm gonna keep it real. I don't get a lot of questions on IG reference to acquiring real estate. I may get some insurance questions. I think I could do a better job of posting some of the assets that we're buying. To be honest, I'm pretty bad at this on social media. Man, I just work. I buy assets. I keep working. They keep generating income, and I keep it moving. But people that are really close to me, or we're in the same circles, they know the work that I'm doing. They see the assets that we are operating, and they definitely reach out, ask questions. It might not be on IG, Facebook. It just might be a direct phone call or a text message. Every once in a while, not a lot, every once in a while we'll get a direct message, but it's going to be in reference typically to insurance. And I think I may have had maybe 3 real estate investment questions in my IG probably over the last 6 months. I really don't get a lot of real estate questions.
And I would urge everyone in our audience to take advantage of you as a resource in that way. Because if Mr. Al Johnson is saying that we're not inundated Oh, I'm back. My apologies. I lost you guys for a second. My question for you, Al, is this, is that if everyone who had an opportunity to hear you speak publicly could give our Prime Real Estate Network audience a little insight as far as some of the topical conversations you have. When you have your public speaking events, what type of subject matter are you touching on? Because for those who haven't talked to you or had a chance to ask you a question on Instagram, we want to make sure that they get a chance to hear you speak and hear the topics and the subject matter that you share publicly. So what are some of the things that you like to share with the public when you're out having speaking engagements?
Well, I spend a good amount of time on Clubhouse because it allows people to ask questions in the chat, and it's live just like this, right? It's not being recorded, but it's live. And people are going to ask questions in the chat, or they can just verbally ask questions if they're on the stage. And the range of topics can be from leading and scaling a team or organization to properly structuring different life instruments to acquire income producing assets, to regular questions about homeowners insurance, or questions about the insurance market for investors that, frankly, what do you do if you own a 30-unit apartment complex and the insurance costs 3x? Why did it 3x? What's the market dynamics? Are you going to be able to get that asset placed with another carrier? These are questions that we're talking about, and they have a lot of economic principles. And I'm a teacher at heart. I want people to understand the why, so that it can prevent them from maybe being in a situation where their real estate asset is going to be in jeopardy because it's not cash flowing, right? So if you're going to buy a property, you really should stress test it. What if it's, what if you own 10 doors and 4 of them are vacant and you got a 40% vacancy? What if your interest rate goes up, a point or two? What if your insurance costs doubles or triples? And why would it double or triple? Like, what are some things you can do to keep the cost down? These are just things that we're talking about. And, we're all learning from one another. It's pretty awesome.
One of the things that Larry and I like to do when we interview our guests is to give the members of our audience a little bit of insight about how successful entrepreneurs evolve into that success. When you think about your background and your upbringing as a young man, Al, were there any members of your family that were business owners, entrepreneurs? Were there close members of your inner circle that might have served as a guiding light for you from that standpoint to give you the motivation and the confidence needed to go out and build businesses and be a leader professionally and in your personal life?
Man, growing up and as a parent today, I've always heard people say your kids or grandkids are watching what you do, right? You might not think they're watching, but they really are. And so one of my heroes, who was an entrepreneur, had a huge impact on the community in which I grew up with. It was my grandmother, Irma Williams, and she's still alive today. I've seen my grandmother feed kids that are hungry. I've seen her feed a whole community. And for her, impact was more important than income. My grandmother never told me that. She showed me that through her actions. I've seen her literally feed a whole community. People that maybe didn't have food on the table, parents was working late. And man, there's a lot of comfort in food, a lot of conversations with food. Now, so that is probably where I got my entrepreneur drive from, and my inspiration to be a business owner was from my grandmother, and to have an impact in a community. And for me, my philosophy is this: the more people you help, the more people that you impact. Income is a byproduct of that. So I never chase money, I chase need. I look to solve problems. And if we're able to do that and do it at a high level, the byproduct of that is the financial result. But for me, the most important thing is the impact that's being made.
Absolutely. One of the great things in being members of organizations like Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, and the thing about being a member that I'm so proud of, it gives me the opportunity to mentor and interact with that next generation of talented businessmen and entrepreneurs and professionals. So for any of the young noops out there that's sitting in a seat similar to the one you sat in 10, 15 years ago, could you talk to them about the importance of being a visionary, not necessarily looking at your future as a 2-year thing, but being able to plan out and scale for 5, 10, 15 years to put yourself in a position to be able to vertically integrate your organization? Could you just give a little insight into why having that forward thinking vision is something that's so important for a business owner?
Man, that is paramount. It is a reason why in business school, when you're writing a business plan, when you take an entrepreneur class or whatever, they have you start with your vision. And the same thing when I was going through my State Farm process, we had to write a business plan, we had to present it to a panel, we had to really explain what we wanted our business to look like, when we wanted it to look like, the financial goals that we had, and most importantly, what marketing tools and activity that was going to be required to have that vision come true. So one thing I would tell anyone, if you want to be an entrepreneur, you have to make 5 to 7 year decisions. It's not about chasing the bag, because if it's something that you're passionate about, well, passion doesn't always pay. It doesn't. You have to have a vision so clear that you're willing to work for it just as bad as you are to breathe, quoting E.T. In addition, you have to be willing to do that for a minimum of 5 years. That's really, really important, because sometimes it takes 5 years for the seeds that you sowed 3-4 years prior to bear fruit. Sometimes it takes that long to build a productive team. Not just a team, but a productive team. So for me, vision without action is just, all it is dreaming. You actually have to do the work and be willing to do that work consistently over and over, and evaluate your progress, and be willing to do that for 5 to 7 years. That's what any advice I would give, not just anyone in the frat, Rick, not just new, but I would give anybody that advice.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
I would give anybody that advice that really wants to be an entrepreneur is start with a vision, be willing to do the work to see that vision come true, be patient enough to understand that it may take 5 to 7 years for you to get the traction that you want to see, right? There's so many times in business, people quit before they reap their benefits and rewards. They quit right before the getting gets good. And you just got to be willing to push through and be in a state of being uncomfortable to have the growth that's needed to be successful and to have sustainable success.
Man, I thank you so much for that advice, because I hope that everyone in our audience can not only heed that advice, but make it a part of their being, so as they encounter challenges and roadblocks, they can go back to this conversation and understand the things that they're going through aren't personal. This is just a part of the process.
Yep.
And be more process driven as opposed to results driven. So thank you so much for sharing that. I want to ask you this, and this is something that Larry and I like to ask every week. For those members of our audience, Al, who are hearing your message for the first time, but would like to follow you, become a part of your movement, meet, greet, and interact with you on a personal basis, when will be that next opportunity, and what type of events, and when will you be speaking for the public next?
Got it. Great question. And I'll make sure that everyone gets that link. I would say right now, because my team's building the Evite, just follow me on IG, Ask Al Johnson. It's in the handle. And you'll see I'm actually doing a talk November the 2nd at 7 o'clock. It's going to be via Zoom. And we'll send that stuff out via Evite. I'll be speaking in person. There will be some people there in person, and everyone else can join virtually. We're talking about building income one door at a time. And we're talking about how insurance, it's a big conduit to having a successful performing real estate portfolio, and to understand the market dynamics that's going to impact your real estate portfolio. Because here's what we will see, Rick. There will be people there will be not just investors, there will be homeowners or potential homeowners that may not be able to buy if they're in coastal areas because of the lack of accessibility with insurance companies, right? And if you are getting a loan, and if it's backed by Fannie or Freddie, which most are, they're going to require you to have insurance with an A-rated carrier, meaning does that insurance company have a healthy balance sheet? Because they want to make sure that in the event there's a total loss or a claim, that insurance company can deliver on its promise and make that household because they want to make sure that their loan is secure, right?
Absolutely.
And so what you're seeing, or what investors and homeowners will see, is that the homeowners market, especially in coastal counties like Brazoria, Harris, Fort Bend, Chambers, Liberty, even probably, I won't say Montgomery, but Galveston County, any counties that are really coastal, you're going to see homeowners and investors have difficulties having homeowners or apartment complexes with place coverage, right? It's going to be unaccessible. It's going to be extremely expensive because there are a lot of insurance companies struggling with having healthy balance sheets, with record inflation, cost of labor to fix homes, cost of material to build it, supply chain issues. I can go on and on. This will have a trickle effect. You already seeing it in California. You're seeing it in Florida. You're going to see it in coastal Texas. You're going to start seeing this. Well, if you're buying doors in these areas and you're not planning for that, that can really impact your ability to have a property cash flow, right?
Right.
So we're going to kind of, try to make it, not get too deep in the weeds, but really just truly help people understand the market dynamics and some considerations to be thinking about prior to moving forward on buying anything.
Absolutely, man. And see, those things, I think, those dynamics that affect real estate from an insurance perspective, I know are really underreported. So it takes professionals like yourself to share this information. And I urge everyone in the audience to follow you, to make sure they set aside time to listen to your talk on November the 2nd, I believe.
Yeah, November 2nd, 7 o'clock.
Yes.
And then I'll post multiple reminders on my IG. They're actually building that now as we speak. So if I get a text message with the link, I'll make sure to get it so we can put it on the screen so people can RSVP for it.
Man, look, Al, was super excited when Larry told us you were gonna be able to sit in. The conversation that we have has been exactly what I expected, and I hope everyone in our audience not only can be edified from the information, but for those that are being introduced to you for the first time, have an opportunity to have someone as knowledgeable as yourself add you to their power base. They're people that they come to for direction, expert analysis, and just taking advantage of your experience in the market. So I want to thank you so much, Al. If you ever wanted to sit back in with Larry and myself, please let us know. And we will continue to keep our group updated as far as what you guys have going on and make sure that they stay tapped in with your movement as well. So thank you so much, Al, for sitting in this week.
Hey man, I appreciate you guys for having me. Really enjoyed it. I love what y'all are doing. You're educating a lot of people. Continue to do that. No matter how tiring the work is, y'all are making a huge difference and you're making a huge impact. And again, focus on the impact. The income is is a product of that. And so keep doing your work, man. I'm humbled and grateful to be here. And thank you for having me.
Hey, man, thank you. Appreciate you so much, brother, man. We look forward to speaking with you soon.
Nope.
Thank you. Yo.
Yeah.
Hey. Hey, man, the red light specialist always delivers exactly as promised, man. Big, huge shout out to Al Johnson. Big, huge shout out to the Texas Real Estate King, Mr. Larry W. Brooks. Huge shout out to our super producer, Jay Joseph, and the entire team over at Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm. I want to thank you all for tuning in. I urge everyone, stay tapped in, stay in the know. Follow us on YouTube, follow us on Instagram, and between now and next Thursday, if you have any questions, I'm just a text, email, DM away. And on behalf of myself and the Texas Real Estate King, Mr. Larry W. Brooks, I want to thank everyone for tuning in this week. And until next Thursday, everyone in our audience, please be safe and be blessed.